Hello, welcome to the Chirp YouTube channel. My name is Christy. I am your friendly online speech-language pathologist and specialist in children's communication development, which also includes behavior, because behavior is a type of communication. Just one type. There are many types. Behavior is one way of communicating. Today we are exploring another little topic within our series on including neurodivergent children in our programming, whether that is our swimming class or our church Sunday school or our families. We can make some little changes that can make these experiences much more enjoyable for them. And the one we're talking about today is giving choices. Now, all children need choices because it really cuts down on challenging behavior. But, by the way, we have a guest today. I will show you. This is Ivy. Hi, Ivy. You play with Mama's pencil. She likes to sit on my lap while I am at my desk. And so she may cause some noises today, especially since she's close to the mic. But I couldn't hear her purring, but perhaps you could. Back to the topic at hand. Many kids have difficulty with rebellion, shall we say, with being obstinate or oppositional. But one of the easiest ways that we can help kids who tend in this direction is to give them two choices, both of which are acceptable. Not only is this helpful for typically developing kids, but it can be even more helpful for children who perhaps are on the autism spectrum or perhaps have other neurodivergent brain patterns. The reason for this is that it is very comforting to have a modicum of control. So many times, especially our kids who are diagnosed or who are different from other kids, we often make decisions for them. We often give them what to wear in the morning, tell them what they will have for breakfast. They don't usually have a lot of agency in their lives. Agency is the ability to direct your day, your life, the belief that your actions make a difference. And agency is very important in the psychology of how we function. This was learned in a very, very sad and abusive study done on puppies. I will put a link to a description of the study down below. But what happened was the puppies were placed on a pad in I'm not sure if it was in a fenced area or if it was just on this pad. And at first, of course, the puppies wanted to go off the pad and explore, but they got little shocks whenever they went across a certain line. Eventually, the puppies refused to go across that line, and their desire to explore stopped. They no longer were curious about what was beyond that line because their curiosity had been stolen from them. And they were too afraid to even try again. Sometimes this kind of experience of, no, don't go that way, I will choose your outfit, I will choose your drink, I will tell you how to walk down the street, I will tell you where to sit. Children can lose the feeling that their own decisions matter or that they even have the ability to make their own decisions. And sometimes this can lead to a very strong pushback when we ask them to do anything. They are tired. of other people telling them what to do. And one very easy way to help with this is, instead of saying, sit here in this seat, you can say, oh, look, we have red chairs and yellow chairs. Would you like a red chair or a yellow chair? They're still going to sit in one of the chairs, and there's it's neither choice is poor, but they have choices, and it makes a difference in how they manage themselves, in how they feel respected. This is one of the hugest things that enables me to build a trusting relationship with a child who has difficult behaviors. I'm thinking of a child right now who has some really challenging behaviors. And the way that I bond the best with him is by asking him, do you want to sit on the red wobbly cushion or the blue wobble cushion? Would you like to sit in this tape box on the rug or this tape box on the rug? Would you like to color while we're listening to the story? Or would you like to play with some squishy dough while you're listening to the story? His behavior has been so poor for so long with so many people in so many circumstances that I think he feels that anytime an adult tells him anything, it's going to be to boss him around. And it makes him obstinate and oppositional. Let's think of some additional circumstances. For example, let's say we're in swimming class. The child's getting a little snitty. And so you can say, would you like to swim in lane A or lane B? I am not a swimmer. I don't know if that actually matters when you're practicing or when you're in a lesson. If it does, don't use this example. But if it doesn't, does it hurt to let that child make some of those choices? If you are a teacher in a classroom, obviously not every child can have every choice in the world. But rather than telling the child, your job for this week is to make sure all the trash goes in the trash can, and if it doesn't, you put it in there. Maybe you ask the child, do you want to be the trash collector or do you want to be the board eraser? Sometimes little things like this show such respect to a child that you build a level of trust that I don't think you can build any other way. So, think of some examples in your child's life, or this child you're thinking of, this child you're working with and learning to help, learning to support better. Think of some situations where that child gets a little bit disagreeable. And think of some ways that you could add choice making into that interaction. Does your child get angry when you need to get in the car? Perhaps you can offer two choices of what she takes in the car with her, or perhaps she can choose which side of the car she sits on. Does your child get in a little bit of a snit when it's time for dinner? Perhaps you can let her pick her favorite plate, her favorite cup. Perhaps there are different kinds of ice cubes. Sometimes we have to make there be more options just so that the kids can make choices. I have multiple kinds of ice cubes in my house, not because I have kids who need to make more choices, or kids at all, in fact, in my house, but because I like that. And so this is why it came to mind that it might be very helpful for a child who doesn't like to sit down to dinner with the family, but if she has round ice cubes that look like little rocks, or I have some ice cubes that are from silicone molds and they are in the shape of gemstones. My nieces thought those were beautiful. Maybe that would be enough if she gets to choose her ice cubes every day before dinner. Maybe that would be enough that she would be willing to join the rest of the family for dinner. This is also really, really helpful with super picky eating. I'm going to put I think I always have a link down below to my favorite book on super picky eating. So if you haven't checked that out, please do. And this is not totally my specialty. There are special therapists called feeding therapists. Sometimes they're occupational therapists who are specialists in feeding and the sensory problems that can exist along with feeding disorders. Sometimes they're speech-language pathologists who are specialists in swallowing and also the sensory stuff that can come along with swallowing and the functions of the mouth, the palate, the throat, all of it. I have worked on feeding some, but I don't have the extensive mentoring in this area that I would need to actually be a feeding therapist. So I am not going to give you advice on this topic, except to say that exposure, multiple exposures to any particular non-preferred food in multiple different formats, pureed, frozen, we use it to paint with, we use it to dig with. It's not just a food, it's also a toy. We make it fun. We don't put too much pressure on it. And also, we make sure there are choices. It might be two choices that aren't necessarily preferred, but also it helps to grow the food. So if you can have a little plant pot with red bell peppers growing in it or lettuce, and your child gets to have a say in what you grow and what you pick before dinner and what you put in your salad or on your plate, that is going to help. So think about how you can give kids more choices in ways that are going to work within your overall schedule and plan of your environment. And do it. You can do it. Thank you for being here. I will see you next time, and we will talk about some more fantastic ways to include kids who are neurodivergent. Have a great day. Bye.